Beautiful.
Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my heartiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? Because I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise? That I dance like I've got diamond at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history shame I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Tamika Catchings. You just heard from Eric Saunders and Nick Wright. You got the opportunity to hear him perform first thing first, and we'll introduce to everybody else that's on the screen. But I'm first off really, really excited about you guys joining us. And to my panelists, thank you guys so much for being here. This idea came literally Tuesday night about 10:45 p.m. I got an idea that I really wanted to do something and have a community conversation. So I sent out text messages, I hit people on social media, on Instagram, on the message, I sent out emails. I did a little bit at 10:45 p.m. And thankfully, thank God, people responded to the call. So here we are. And I am really, really excited, from young to old to doctors, doctorates, to students in high school, all the way and in between. Here we are, I think, touching a lot of different areas. But today is going to be super, super fun. Of course, I am representing my favorite t-shirt from Tease Me Cafe, Indy, and we are ready to have some fun. So Eric, let's kick it off. Let's introduce our panel. Let's make sure that everybody knows, hey, they need to know who you are. If you don't know who I am, I play for the Indiana Fever. I own Tease Me Cafe, Indy. I still work for the Indiana Fever. I'm currently the general manager and vice president of basketball operations for the Indiana Fever WNBA.
There you go.
Really excited. Yeah, really, really excited. So Eric, let's kick it off. Do a short little introduction. Let's introduce our panel and let's get right into it, because I don't want to waste time.
Okay, cool. Well, my name is Eric Saunders. I'm your wonderful co-host this evening. Thank you all for tuning in. And I've actually been working with Tamika for the last, oh my God, two and a half years.
Yeah.
With the Tease Me, Meet the Artist every first Friday. It's been an awesome experience. I work at Vanguard Collegiate, West Side Middle School. I'm a poet. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm happy to be here. And I've issued a one-on-one basketball challenge with Tamika a long time ago. But hey, this is just going to happen. So
just say we're both really good at something. How about that?
Yeah. Let's just say that. So let's go ahead and start off with introducing our panelists for today, and I'm going to kick it off with Miss Kayla G. All right. So Kayla G is a 17-year-old student at Pike High School. She has won 2 gold medals and a silver medal in the Indiana State Music Association competition. Kayla has been a member of the Pike Mystique Show Choir for 2 years and has recently joined the Pike Encore Show Choir. When Kayla isn't performing with her school choir, she sings with the Expressions of Joy, St. John's Missionary Baptist Church, where she is also volunteers as a youth usher, nurse, nursery worker, and a cherub choir assistant. When Kayla isn't singing, she can be found with her family. She also enjoys attending community events with her Uncle Eric that showcases teens that love art just like her. Kayla plans to go to the University of the Virgin Islands to become a marine biologist and Spanish interpreter. She also wants to continue with her music career. With the help of God and her family, she knows that she can make anything happen.
Anything happen. All right, Kayla, welcome. We are so excited. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm going to introduce Lauren Hall. Lauren has if I read her whole bio, we'd be here for a long time. So I shortened it up a little bit, Lauren. I had to just pick bits and pieces. But Lauren Hall is an educator, researcher, and nonprofit leader with over a decade of experience in creating more dynamic, inclusive, and thriving educational organizations, art institutions, and cities. She has taught in traditional and non-traditional educational settings in Indianapolis, Baltimore, DC, and throughout New York. Currently, Hall's roles include Manager of Corporate and Foundation Relations with Teach for America, Indianapolis, Director of Indianapolis Youth Poet Laureate, so they're right, yes, and member of the Voices leadership team, which she actually kind of helped found a little bit. Yeah, she kind of helped a little bit transition, a little bit push, boom. There you go. So under her role with Teach for America Indianapolis, she has done a lot of funding from the state of Indiana to increase the amount of ethno-racial and economic diversity of STEM teachers across Indiana. She is an active Indianapolis spoken word. She is part of the spoken word poetry community and had featured at Women 317, States of Incarceration, and at the Moving the World Forward Public Policy and International Affairs Conference. That was a lot, Lauren, right? She holds 3 master's degrees in education, public affairs, and arts administration, and she seeks to leverage a mixed method research approach to better understand how best communities, organizations, and systems cultivate and amplify youth and community voice and well-being. Welcome to the stage, Lauren.
All right, next we have, oh my goodness, Alyssa Gaines. Alyssa Gaines, everybody, Indianapolis Youth Poet Laureate. And I believe the first ever Youth Poet Laureate. Let me get it right because I was there to watch. So she is an Indianapolis native. She was the first laureate in 2019. She's a writer, activist, athlete, student, born right here in Naptown. Been to IPS schools. This year, in addition to playing 3 sports, Alyssa started Slam Poetry Club at her high school. Go ahead. And was very involved in different affinity groups within her school. Alyssa was the high school finalist for the Indiana Repertory Theater's Young Playwright in Progress competition. And through the Scholastic and Art Writing Award, she received a gold key at the state level, in addition to a national gold medal, the Best in Grade Award, awarded to 1 writer and 1 artist nationally per graduating class. She's and an American Voices Award, awarded to 5 writers nationally and 1 writer per geographical region. In her writing, Alyssa addresses the nuances of different social justice issues, such as racism, gun violence, as witnessed through her experiences growing up Black and on the east side of Indianapolis. Alyssa has performed her work at the Library of Congress and has accepted awards for her writing in Carnegie Hall. She is currently a student at Park Tudor High School and hopes to study economics and political science after she graduates. I am ecstatic and grateful to be Indy's inaugural Youth Poet Laureate. I love this city, and I can't wait to serve Naptown the best way that I can. I'm quoting her. I would like to thank everyone, I'm quoting her still, who has supported me to this point, and I feel blessed beyond words. I feel great responsibility to my community, and I hope to be a force for positive change. Hope to be a force. You are a force. Alyssa Gaines, everybody.
Currently is, yes, love it. Yes. Welcome, Alyssa. And now we have Deliana Jones. Woo, come on, get excited. Yay! So Jones is a writer, rapper, scholar, and athlete. I said and athlete. She was a rising sophomore at KIPP Indy Legacy High School, where she has earned one of the top 10 highest GPAs, plays for the volleyball team, and is a member of Girls Who Code. That's nice. She has been an actively engaged member of Voices for years and has elevated her leadership over time. She is now a leader within Voices, Power, and Promise Leadership Development Program, and has helped to launch the Voices podcast. I heard you are you are the podcast. That's what I heard. She has also worked for 2 summers at, I should have asked you how to pronounce this, Feliz Hayat, something like that. Close enough.
What?
There we go. I should have asked that. Summer Youth Farm Program, through which she has gotten to invest in her passion for addressing her East Side community's lack of access to fresh produce and to addressing climate change more broadly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right,
Come on now. I see you.
We gotta zip through this because we gotta get to our
Right.
question. Come on.
All right, next we got Nick Wright, who I have known since he was 8 years old when he asked if I wanted to play with his Power Rangers. Am I muted? Am I good? Okay. Okay. Nick is a 20-year-old saxophonist and a junior at Indiana Wesleyan University, where he is studying psychology. He has been playing the saxophone for 8 years, and his goal is to share the gift that God gave him with everyone that will listen. He wants to change someone's life for the better and watch them walk in their purpose. He just released his first single back in March called Broken and has done many covers of songs from gospel, R&B, pop, and even freestyles. He's played at many events over the years, including fashion shows, weddings, birthday parties, and competitions at the Indiana and Marion County Fair. Go ahead, man.
All right. Welcome, Nick.
Yay.
Hey, Nick. All right. Kalima Johnson. There she is. Kalima Johnson, and it's LMSW. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. I think you gotta piece that part out. Is a poet and spoken word artist from Detroit, Michigan, the founder and executive director of the Sasha Center and consultant for the NBA, National Basketball Association, and lead social work clinician for Soul Healing Consulting LLC. Kalima and I go way, way back. So I am so excited to do more work with her. When you hear everybody is going to knock the socks off, but I had the opportunity to do some work with her. So super, super excited about her joining our first conversation. Welcome, Kalima.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yay. I'm here with greatness. I'm so excited.
All of us.
All right.
And last but not least,
how can I explain this? When I first saw Mariah Ivy, I thought she was somebody else. I thought she was my sister in poetry. She was not that sister in poetry, but since that day we met at a march on the way downtown, she's become my sister in poetry. Mariah Ivy is a writer, poet, musician, and curator living in Indianapolis, Indiana. She is a visionary and founder of the local performing arts hub, That Piece Open Mic, which serves as both a radical and imaginative space for art, culture, and community. She is an active facilitator and practitioner of the restorative justice, social emotional learning, and equity, anti-bias work. Her ability to write and weave conceptually among academic and traditional performing art spaces has not only strengthened her love for teaching through the arts and cultural lens, it's furthered her study of it. She is currently studying at Indiana University, Purdue University, majoring in African American Studies and philosophy. Simultaneously, she is an active performer, having opened for Beverly Bond, founder of Black Girls Rock, Grammy Award-winning hip-hop group Arrested Development, Anthony Hamilton, and more. Whether she's working in public or comfortably focused behind the scenes, her deep love for language, education, and Black and Brown communities will continue to inspire, impact, and drive her work. I'm so excited for this panel, man. Let's go.
All right. Well,
oh my God.
Give a big shout out. Thank you guys for coming on. So I want to get this thing moving, and we spent a lot of time introducing you guys because that's just like you guys are, and I'm really just honored to be here in this circle with you. So we're gonna kick it off because this is a conversation. I do want to hear you guys perform, but I really want to set the stage. So I did send these questions out earlier so that they would have a moment to kind of think through. And we're gonna First question. With so much injustice and uncertainty going on in our world right now, tell us where your thoughts are in this moment. Anybody can jump in. Let's just like boom.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to say, currently my views at the moment are set on kind of survival and protection more than revolution, so to speak, because there's so much to be done before the country's beliefs are like on the same page, so to speak. I believe that it's always been time to stand up, especially now more than ever. With our current situation, it's also best to, I guess, kind of reevaluate ourselves and keep ourselves in line before we continue to push for greatness. It's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, I completely, I agree. There's in the sense that I really feel this kind of, this conflict, feel a bit conflicted in the sense that, this is something, the first instance I can remember of police brutality that really stuck with me was Trayvon Martin. And so this is something that's been continuing, through my whole lifetime. And, the timing just was, everyone's at home during quarantine, we're all using our phones. And so just the timing kind of allowed for everyone to just see or hear about this video of the murder of George Floyd. And I think a part of me, it's very triggering almost and upsetting to see these videos of, Black people being murdered just spread about through the internet. And so you have to kind of regulate and, really be careful about how you navigate the internet, because it is really upsetting. But there's also a bit of hope in the sense that you see, everyone saw it. And so you see how people are really, pushing their communities to do better. And that's something that I find hope in. And just seeing, even within my own community at my school, how many people are beginning to start having these discussions that we should have had a long time ago, and, start looking at ways that we can move forward from this, that really does give me hope. And also it kind of reignited this passion for like activism and getting involved in my community, because you see and hear about the same things happening over and over for so long. It can be so exhausting. And just seeing the way that really young people have taken charge across the country to kind of really make their voices heard, it's just reignited that kind of passion for activism in me as well.
Good. Come on, everybody. Not at all at once, because y'all know how I feel. So what you got? We want to hear from you.
Okay, I'll go. I was gonna say, feeling right now really challenged and conflicted, simply because we're already dealing with a health crisis. And on top of dealing with the health crisis, now we have this. And I don't want to necessarily give my age, but Tamika said it, old and new. So I'll say I'm in the old group. And but being in the old group, I mean, and also being the only African American founder of a sexual assault program that works in the African American community that we know of in the country, we've had to talk about and deal with a lot of issues related to police brutality. We run support groups for self-identified survivors of sexual assault, and most of the members of our groups are Black and brown folks, and they talk about, and it's really interesting, the dynamics that come up, because now I'm thinking about it as I see the behavior of cops all the time. I mean, for all my life, but particularly more now than anything, is that survivors that we work with never got justice because officers, just either were ill prepared or didn't know how to respond, or didn't even think or see Black women as even rapeable to begin with. And that's a problem. And so it brings a lot of triggers for me in terms of the kind of work I've been doing and the racism that we face every day, just trying to find funding for our program. And I'm sad and I'm afraid, but then I'm also inspired by young people. I'm inspired by the fact that here in Detroit, you haven't seen the kind of looting that we've seen all over the country, just simply because our officers seem to have a better community kind of relationship in some way, somehow. I mean, they've done some things that were inappropriate, but for the most part, they have control. And a lot of people don't notice, but every year here in Detroit, we have this big fireworks, this huge firework event where there are more than 1 million people down here. And so officers have been trained to deal with big crowds like that for a long time. So that's why you don't see us in all the national news. And they're having peaceful protests so far, and they've been peaceful without any violence or any tearing up of property for the last 3 days. So I'm just holding my breath and hoping that things, that we can also be seen. And I think it's so important for us to be seen. And then I'm just also thinking that right now at this very moment with all of you in the room, that I'm honored to be here. It seems like there's a lot of talent, but a lot of energy and a lot of intelligence in this space. And I'm just glad to be in this space so that we can talk about it. And then the other thing too, is that in trying to reconcile all of the pain and all of the hurt and all of the racism that I've experienced, what I did back in 2004 is I traced my family back to the plantation where we were slaves. And I actually found the family, the descendants of the family that owned us when we were slaves. And we still in communication now. We talked yesterday. And so I'm always about integration. I'm always about healing. I'm always about, let's look at this pain, let's call it what it is, but let's work towards fixing it. Let's work towards doing something so that we can have a better world to live in. So I'm motivated. I'm not tired. I might be old, but I'm not tired. And I'm certainly glad to be here with everybody. So.
Thank you so much, Kalima, and cool out with that, because you know Black don't crack, so stop that.
Yes, sir.
So, right, please. and I think that was very interesting that you kept in contact, just even the thought of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot where healing starts, is like when you actually say, yes, that was back then, but we have to heal forward. Yeah. Versus you have a lot of people to say, that's back then, why can't we leave it there? Because I still want to be nasty to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
or I want to act like it didn't happen, or
I want to act like it didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's not the case with this family, and I was very lucky in that way. And I believe a huge part of that is that she happened to be someone who was a believer, and she just has this really strong way about herself. And she cries, you know, she cried when we first contacted and talked to each other, but I told her, I said, okay, we can cry a little bit right now, but you know, I sip white tears, and I'm just like, okay, let's keep it moving. Let's really figure out how we can get to the bottom of this. And she's been really proactive, and she called me to tell me she had this list of 12 things that one of her daughters sent her about what white people could do to get racism.
I don't want to cut it off, because I really do. But I want to make sure we get a chance to get through, because we got a lot on here that we want to get through, but we only got a little bit of time.
You better run this thing. I'll mute myself.
And I see Mariah. Mariah was down there ready to jump in, and she was like, and she was fine. Like, Mariah is so cool. She just like laid back.
I was just gonna hop in, and I don't know. Right now is a really interesting time. Really interesting times that we're living in. I would say I have been everywhere between angry to peaceful and calm within my spirit and within my space, to creative, joyous and upset at the same time, and trying to navigate that space. So, I mean, I've been writing a lot and wrestling with the idea of hope, right? And what hope looks like for us as Black people in this moment, living in the midst of a global pandemic simultaneously. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mariah.
Thanks, Mariah. That part, in the midst of a global pandemic, has really showed its true colors, right? All right, who else ready to jump in? Tamika, I know we wanted to.
So I know we have what I would love to see happen, you know, even through this conversation, and just being conscious of time. I'm gonna throw it to Lauren Hall. And Lauren, I wanna kick it off to you and your ladies that you have, but I really feel like within this space and within the call that we have some amazing talent. So I wanna make sure that we get a chance to hear some of your voices and the strength that you have. People know I used to write poetry. I am not a spoken word artist, so I lived through them. I lived through y'all. I love y'all. So I'm gonna pass it to Lauren, and Lauren, let's kick it off a little bit. Let's just hear a little something.
Thank you. Real quick, if I may for a moment, just say like such gratitude, and I'm so proud of our young leaders here, like going first, and thank you for bringing us together. And you know, as a white person, I feel like it's really important for me to continue to elevate folks of color's voices. And I think just what everyone said resonated a lot for me. And you know, I'd be remiss to not share, like, you know, I think everyone has probably heard the Audre Lorde quote, but caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. And we constantly encourage our students to do that. And I think too, again, as a white person, there are folks who are just waking up to what the issues are. There are folks who have known it. And I don't think it's helpful to try and put a timestamp on when someone got woke. That's like the end of organizing in itself. And so as Viola Davis says, you know, keep your foot on the gas. If you put up a black square for the first time on Blackout Tuesday, cool, fine, keep it going. And I think to that note, I'd just say like, what I'm thinking about a lot is like, what do we do next? Especially as I can navigate different spaces and, you know, bring other white folks along with me. I'm happy to talk with anyone if they want a white person to try and process with, because we should not put that work on people of color alone. And the 8 Can't Wait is a campaign I'm really passionate about. Indianapolis only does one of the 8 things that cities can enact to decrease police violence. And that means police violence against other people and police harm against themselves. So check out 8 Can't Wait. I will go ahead and get into it. As we heard in the introduction, I am just so grateful to have been able to be in these young ladies' lives since they were in 2nd and 3rd grade. They're incredible. As you know, Alyssa Gaines is our inaugural. Eric got it right. He was one of our wonderful judges for the competition. She was our inaugural Youth Poet Laureate. Daliana Jones has just stepped up. She launched the podcast. You got it right, Tamika. So we're just so excited for them to be here. And I'm going to skip my turn because I think for the sake of time, I would much rather just have our girls perform. So I'm going to kick it to Alyssa first. She's got 2 pieces for us, and then DJ can go after
that. Thank you, Lauren. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this poem called Love Letter to the East Side. In this poem, I feel like it really connects to me into this time in a specific way, in the sense that it's about looking at where I live and the community that I'm a part of. And I love living here and I love being a part of this community. And when you love something, you have to look at it, you know, holistically and see, okay, well, there are places in which we could move forward. And I think in the same way that I look at my own community and see the beauty and also the ways that we can improve and grow. That's the same way that I've kind of, you know, been trying myself to look at what's going on in the world and in the greater community of just Indianapolis, and seeing there's beauty in the community. And there's also ways we can push it to move forward because we love our community and because of that beauty that's there. So, love letter to the East Side. Your streets have scraped my knees and scuffed my sneakers. There's a map of you ingrained in my souls, and so I say I know you very well. Ever since I remember, this place has been home. When I picture you, I do not picture the headlines. I see toddler me with wet-knee jeans playing in the mud at the park after a fresh rain has washed the baseball diamonds. You look like Karen Drive, my grandma's house where I saw my first gun and I learned my religion. I see me growing inside of those ribcage walls, more comfortable than in any skin on Meridian Street. I picture the rival high school's annual football game, boys battling it out on turf under your twilight skies, and the fall breeze sets in. Blue and red light accents the scene as sirens pass by, and it is all leapt on the field. You are Sam at every East Side sports event doing his dance in the stands. You are the parties where East Side teens cry, R.I.P. Lomac, because that's my brother, and sing other songs only we know. Screaming eulogies at the night stars as an act of defiance, knowing the kids on the news could have been us. You sound like Marco 5K after he got out of jail and released his song Bond Money because he was free despite. You are the jiggalate that has not yet been gentrified, all of us in one motion bobbing to your heartbeat. And when they see us, they already know how we what. But Lawrence, you're far from perfect. Your voice cracks under the pressure of crime statistics. Dead bodies clog your arteries. You hug so tight that you never let go of some of us stuck between these blocks, though for most your embrace is the only one we got in a world that can't stand to see us live. We live on the East Side where each day of life is an act of celebration, especially in the summer. And you summer like no other. All the girls out to the park to watch the boys hoop, to see them alive. Oh, how their skin glistens, dripping with sweat that shines like immortality. Though we know statistically that some of us won't make it to August. Lawrence, you have a way of bringing all the Black babies out. Lawrence, you are not a quiet moon dancing across a lake as an audience of one face basks in your beauty. You are a beating sun, banging from ghetto to Geist, a raw heart bleeding all over the sidewalks, a crisp white airbrush t-shirt, a cap to the side, a new candy paint job that fingers have yet to touch. How beautiful. You are a graveyard and a bumping house party. Your cemetery, your sidewalks, your ground sacred. People die on the east side. But oh, how we live here too. And then the second poem that I will share, this is a poem I wrote in response to kind of how I interacted with my friends surrounding, Trayvon Martin. And also it came from a specific incident. When I think I was in the 5th grade, I wanted to go to my friend's birthday party, and she had this huge Confederate flag in her backyard. So it was about kind of explaining to someone who I was friends with and I was with a lot, the reasons why that made me uncomfortable, using the context of the police brutality and the systemic racism that I lived to see, and that kind of violence that racism comes with, and the reason why that Confederate flag being, such a symbol made me so uncomfortable. And I think it's relevant even now. And that's, I think part of the power that this poem still has is because it's still relevant now. It's, not enough has changed to where, this police brutality and this violent racism is not still occurring. I went to my friend named September's 13th birthday party in rural Indiana, and I had to convince her to take her Confederate flag down so that I could come. I still went to the party, but the damage was done. The reason I was so hurt was because still in our country, innocent Blacks are being slain by police, and people have the nerve to display a flag with prejudiced racial history. She wondered why I was so upset. July 13th, 2013, George Zimmerman found not guilty. Where was she when the verdict was in, when 6 non-Black women said Zimmerman was innocent? I was in Florida when they picked the jurors. My grandma's house when they gave the verdict. I remember in my journal, I wrote how they just handed him his gun like, "We're sorry, sir, you're free to go." And it hurts that my mother must tell my 8-year-old brother the way to behave if he ever gets pulled over. It's like what you don't hear in the police shooting recordings. The one thing they're missing, the warning. Be compliant. Put your hands in the sky and explain the situation. Drop your weapon. But the weapon I can't drop is the reason I'm a target. It's because I'm Black, woke, and politically conscious. No justice, no peace, no racist police, no killing innocent Blacks and leaving their bodies in the streets. Hashtagging Black Lives Matter because police aren't treating us like all lives do. When I say Black Lives Matter, how could that offend Blue? How, after everything we've been through, it's rude? How is it socially unacceptable to fear for my little brother's life? How, if I dread the day he learns how to drive and I voice it, it's impolite? Because Black people are being persecuted by police who receive paid leave. And if you really believed that all lives mattered, why don't you support Black ones in our time of need? And September, I want you to understand this. When people talk about breast cancer, would you say all cancers matter? So why are people mad is the operative word. Black, and oh, the irony. It's funny almost. People say Blue Lives Matter when all jobs do, and their defense is they never said that all jobs don't. See, we say things like Black Lives Matter every day, and nobody combats it because Black isn't what we say, and legality is only a technicality when it comes to police brutality. What if, September, your dad or little brother or your uncle was at risk? Would you, September, stay peaceful? Would you stay quiet? Would you enjoy being told how to handle it? No. I'm upset because I'm tired of hearing the officers have not been charged, or they were acquitted when there was so much evidence they could have admitted. And the one shooting that made me particularly mad was Charles Kinsey, who was lying hands up on his back. It showed no matter how much my mother teaches my brother MJ, even if he does what the officers say, even if all the talking he does is to explain, even if he's protecting a man with autism, all lives can't matter until Black lives do. And I can't quit until every September realizes that it's for these innocent people whose killers not punished, whose bodies scattered, that I'm here with my fist high proclaiming Black Lives Matter.
Hey, Bo, listen, wow. And wow.
Thank you.
Okay, Lauren, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just wanted to add too, Alyssa got the only perfect score at the National Slam Poetry Competition at the Library of Congress with that poem. And so if there is ever a doubt that Indianapolis has brilliant youth, many of them, Alyssa won, that is like an affirmation of that. So, Eliana.
Okay. So I wrote a song called "The Dark Side of Naptown." I originally would have did like this to a Chirac beat because like people, okay, when you think of Chicago, you think of violence, but I don't think enough people realize the east side of Indiana isn't as pretty as it seems. Everyone thinks of Indiana as the corny state and you know, but it's not. You know, yeah, I'm just hop right in. Chose a different beat this time. Yo, Pierre, you want to come out here? This is the dark side of Naptown when the sundown hit the ground. No circle, but you see rounds. If you don't know, you're a clown. Man, my homie just got down by some cops on 38th. No, you see the news, and you see the hate. Please hold the pistols for Jesus' sake. Don't matter if you at Chirac or just chilling in the nap. 9 times out of 10, you gonna hear a pop, and that's a fact. I'm sure. Yeah. Oops, my bad. They say that he's not that bad, but roll down mid-hoffer. I assure you, in a couple minutes or so, you're going to need a doctor. So the east side is viewed as the where. As a hood, meanwhile, folks in Carmel got it wet, got it good. What they tell you is that the white pigs told a lot in them, from the white powder to the gunpowder, the big churches, they still sitting. There's no easy act as far as the new city cops rolling through. Just know if you're black, they'll come faster in the blue. Some good things in the city that the others never knew, but to cover it up with negativity, the light can never shine through. You don't need to watch the news if you see changes before your eyes. Don't worry about the media because it's completely filled with lies that profit off of our demise, and you sit there and watch like an outsider kid in a game of hopscotch. Man, this life ain't fair, but I'm sure we can get there. We're getting the energy and courage more than just there. Like a deer in headlights, I see them lights every night. Nothing but red and blue. Guess it's time to shoot. Man, we living in a war zone. There's nobody you can phone home with your homies. Had an early resurrection. Ignorance is a disease, not an infection. Coronavirus, but it's not. Oh my gosh, my bad. No coronavirus, but it's spreading, so you blowing up like Armageddon. I need you to have my back. No leave a weapon. Keep the Bible. Don't need a weapon. I'm sorry.
Take your time. You got this.
All right. How can you scream free the speech? How you reopen a city without cutting a ribbon? With money scissors, that's how. That's why we're allowed to be gunned down. That's why we need to be loud. They keep telling us to quiet down, but I'm going to keep being loud. Not because I'm belligerent, because I'm feeling it. The murder, I'm not feeling it. Hopefully things can get better like Denmark did. But instead, we're walking around like Soldier Kid. People claim we misunderstood, but they don't know the kid. When they turn their black because we're black, man, this racial stuff is whack. For your understanding, I'm going to have to run it back. This is the dark side of Naptown. When the sundown hit the ground, no circle, but you see rounds. If you don't know, you're a clown. My homie got gunned down by some cops on 38th. I know you see the hate, see news. Please hold the pistols for Jesus' sake.
Yes. You got bars.
Oof.
There you go.
Got that.
Bars.
There you go. That was loaded, man. Loaded with stuff. As we speak, it's in the atmosphere, guys, and it's from the youth. 1 in 99. I just saw that NFL is finally admitting that they're wrong. But right, yeah, check your timeline, and they're protesting at 38th in Georgetown. So it's just to be in the spirit of this, where people are just fighting for light. So that's really great. We're going to keep moving, and we're going to actually bring to the space. I hope she's ready. to bless her with her voice. Kayla G, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let us have it.
Okay. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter. But I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, rise like the day. High like the waves, I'll rise up and
Yeah, I would start singing, but I know y'all don't want to hear me. When the silence is in quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, bring it to times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. We will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. For I will rise 1,000 times again. It will rise up high like the waves. Will rise up in spite of the ache. Will rise up. It will do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you.
Yes. Man.
Amazing.
You know, I was freestyling in my head the whole time.
Me too, man. Me too.
Gosh. No, normally we do that together, and I just had to I'm so glad just to listen.
Beautiful.
I mean, in that song, it literally says it's something that you can't even breathe.
Beautiful.
Uh, Beautiful. Once again.
Nice.
Once again. So that was Kayla G, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning in, we're here with Tamika Catchings, who has created this platform for us to bring to you a community conversation. And so, Tamika, where we're going to go from here? We want to go into the question, or we want to chat a little bit with Miss Kalima. How you want to roll?
I think let us roll into the question.
Okay, I think it's a good time.
Let's do one more question, and then we had our youth go first, and then we're gonna not that we had our younger people. Let me rephrase that. We had our younger people go first, and then we're gonna roll into the mature people. How about that? Mature, wise, ones that have just all like the wisdom and knowledge, all that.
They call it aged.
Hey, no, I don't use that. That's a bad word now. Don't use that. All right, so question number 2. Eric, right. You wanna launch question number 2, or you want me to do it?
Let's see. Question number 2. I got it. Each of us comes from a different background and upbringing. What do you think your part is in creating change and being part of the solution to help impact change in racial equality? What are some ways you see that Tease Me, Indy, and each of us can help facilitate change in this community?
I think we should start with Nick this time.
All right.
Nick and Kayla G didn't get to answer the question before, so I know they were just like Nick itching to say something.
Yeah, so what I can do is I can answer the first and the second question.
There you go.
So really my thoughts is taking it as an opportunity and not looking at it as just a depressing and sad time, but taking it as an opportunity to reach the people around me and being able to share with people the different things that they can do when it comes to speaking up in their own way, which goes into the second question. For me, using music is the way that I speak, is the way that I communicate. So I say for everybody, using the things that you're known for. So if you like to draw, use drawing as a way to speak to the people around you. If you're an artist, make a song. You know what I'm saying? So there's always different ways that you can reach the people without having to speak in front of people. You can do anything, and that's all I have to say for right now. But
thank you, Nick.
No problem.
Hey, G, what you got?
In response to the first question, the way I've reacted to everything going on is I've completely gotten off of social media because it hurts to see that happening. It also hurts to know that some of my fellow students, that could be one of them, or they could be down there protesting, they could get hurt. It hurts knowing that people I know and care about could get hurt. And then for the second question, coming from my background, it kind of gave me this look as, oh, if I was to go with my dad, him being a white man, I wouldn't be viewed as a threat. However, if I was to go with my mom and my sisters, we would be viewed as threats. And being a biracial take a stand for you, and you have to show that you will support anything that happens. It's also hard because my little sisters are going through this also. So having to see them go through it and having to see them struggle with understanding this, it kind of takes its toll on me. So,
yeah. Anybody else want to chime in?
Thank you for sharing, Kyle. You and Nick.
Okay. Well.
Let's see. Who else we got here? So we heard from Nick.
I say for me, one of the things that I am really being able to provide platform. Being able to provide platform, being able to use your voice, and being able to use the platform that each of us has. I think about what Nick just said about, if you sing, write a song. If you do music, do music. If you're, spoken word artist, Mariah always said, she's been writing and her creativity. So really finding a space and finding a place where you can excel with something that you do really well. And so for me, it's really about bringing people together. I think that's what we do well at Tease Me, is we bring people of all different backgrounds, all different race, sexual orientation, sex, we bring everybody together. And it's like one big melting pot, which is amazing. And I love it.
I can kind of piggyback off of that. I think as an artist, when I look at movements historically, art has always been at the center of revolution. We need our modern day griots, right? We need the people to capture what's happening. And so I've found myself in that space as a writer, capturing the energy of my people and my community, going out to the protests, being present with community, and just capturing that, writing about it, studying, reading a lot, just so that I can continuously educate myself on how we did things in the past, right? Sankofa, we got to know where we came from in order to know where we're going. So I've been in a constant space of studying, reading, and writing. And I think with Tease Me, platforms like this, creating space, holding space, activating space so that people can talk about these things, so that people can learn how to mobilize, and also making it clear where Tease Me stands, making it clear that Tease Me is in support of our protesters, our activists, our every layer of activism. I think that really helps to support and to motivate people to continue to continue to act. So yeah.
That's real good, Mariah, because and that's why I put what I put in the chat. I'm so happy for you doing your African American studies, and it's unfortunate, but that you take that decide to make that a major or master, what have you, it's almost like, whoa, why didn't I learn this from the beginning? It is so much to process. And I say that because I majored in African American studies in college, and ironically, my senior thesis was on the double consciousness theory by W.E.B. Du Bois from the Souls of Black Folk, and how I saw that as a junior in 2003, 2004, and how that all plays out, and it gets to the point where you're American and Negro, and they inside your soul is just being ripped apart. And I'm at that place where I have finally just ripped apart. I cannot code switch. I cannot sugarcoat conversation, because I'm not helping the person that I'm speaking to, the person that's in management, because I feel like I'm enabling people to kind of remain in this ignorance that has kept us bound. And so again, thank you, Mariah, for taking upon that to learn. Because I told Tamika I wanted to bring out all my little research work, going all the way back, just so people, okay, and I'll just say it. If we want to say all lives matter, I get it, but don't say it because you want to deflect from Black Lives Matter. If someone wants to say all lives matter, all I say is, okay, prove it. Prove it. Because certainly we can't be living like this if all lives have mattered. I can pinpoint every time in history where we have fought together in wars, and then hatred tears us apart. So when there's a direct correlation, and this is the time to kind of point out the whole Drew Brees situation, when you see that flag and you see, say we should respect the flag because of what soldiers have, and that's when I say, are you talking about the soldiers, the Black soldiers that came home and were lynched in their uniforms? Are those the soldiers you're referring to as well? Are those the ones that fought Nazis who were trying to kill everybody only to come back? I went to a war and defended you, and you come back, and I come back and you kill me. And so that's a fact. Anything that I speak, and I encourage you all as you go forward in regards to solutions, you don't speak opinions, speak facts. It's all there. Anytime we've all tried to come together, hatred and racism has torn us apart. And then you have people who deflect and say, well, Where's Black Lives Matter with black on black crime? And that's hateful language as well. It's like, because I can very easily flip that, well, where were you at with the black on crime, type thing. So again, because people have not learned this information, they've not developed, and this is not an insult, or take however it is, the intellectual capacity to really kind of take grabs of this. Too many people have put their race before humanity. And that's where we're all at. And I think, and just to say with Nick and everybody, to use your talents wherever you're at, because we have to attack the whole system. And I love that people are protesting, and I continue that, but now we have to attack every system where racism has touched. Because people have been operating this and putting it in policy. People have did this and keep it regular, and the hatred is just constantly in a state of divide. So you go through, always challenge. Like I said, shout out again, Mariah, because we can go to college that teaches you how to learn, but that African American studies, whew, Lord have mercy. So that's all I wanted to essentially say. Let's see, Kalima, I'm interested to see what you thinking.
First of all, I'm thinking that Midwest rocks. I love the Midwest. I love the personalities and attitudes of all the folks in the Midwest, from the poem about the East Side to the Nap Town. I mean, I'm really feeling all the words in the song. Sis, when you start singing, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to turn this camera off because I'm about to start crying. But I just want to say that we're united in that we're here in the Midwest. And one of the poems that I wanted to share was something I wrote before, like maybe a week before everything has happened with George Floyd. But it's not about particularly race, but it is about body politics. And it's about how power and control in this country is around who gets the work, who doesn't get the work, who has to work, who can't work. And it was really that whole thing, what happened here in Michigan, which I'm almost sure was happening there too, is workers were being made to go back to the factories very earlier than I felt like they should, but it's because of the country we live in. So I wrote this, and I've got lots of poems about Black and being Black and what it means to be Black and what it means to navigate in Black, but I just wanted to read this one first. And we can always do this again. As a matter of fact, I've been promising Tamika I'm gonna come to tease me, and I almost made it that one first Friday when I was in town, but my flight was leaving, so I have to say I'm sorry about that. But this is a poem, and it's called For Midwest Factory Towns and Factory Workers that have to return to work too soon. Boom, clack, slump, shat, cling, sling, steel, reel, bump, funk, breathe, slump, a whole thing for you, I feel. They want you to wear a mask and pretend like folks ain't already died. They want you to adapt fast, social distance from each other with no guide. They want you to punch in and hold your breath. They want you to work your lungs to death. They want you to act like you're not unionized. They want you to wear the gloves and disguise your raw fear, your protective gear, your love for your kids. Forget the years you already done did, your need for a roof and 3 squares. They want you to pretend like COVID-19 ain't right there, waiting on floors, doors, and surfaces, lurking for an entryway, turning foreheads into furnaces. Boom, clap, slump, shot, cling, sling, steel, reel, bump, funk, breathe, slump, a whole thing for you, I feel, and upon your return, I will be thinking of you at every shift. May my prayers lift for your safety and health. The big 3 about that big wealth. Boom, clap, slump, shot, cling, sling, steel, reel, bump, funk, breathe, slump, a whole thing for you, I feel. Thank you.
You better come. Look, I was trying to find the mute button. I'm like, come on. All right. Yeah. You need to roll on through with some poetry and quit playing with us.
I would love to.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to make it quick because, like I said, I'm so honored to be in this space with young poets. And just to give you all a little bit more background, real quick, I was the slam master for Detroit for many years here. And I won the Slam Master Slam in Austin, Texas, long time ago.
You go.
And I was the poet in residence for the Detroit Symphony Orchestra too. So I'm in my bag with y'all. I love this.
This is your element.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we should roll on to Mariah, because I know one thing when Mariah gets done, I really want to, maybe we'll open it up and kind of, I want Nick to play, if he will, if he'll bless us one more time at the end. But also I want to see, depending on time, if we have a little bit more time to have another conversation. So Mariah.
Okay.
All eyes on you. Let me get you up on the screen.
Yo, love to everybody who is gone already. Y'all are life. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop into this poem that I just wrote, actually. So I'm gonna read it. It's called A Poem About Libraries. I'm not real fancy with titles, so but I wrote it because I have been doing a lot of reading and studying, but books are awesome. Books are wonderful. And being in this quarantine, I know for a lot of people has just given them space to pick that book back up, right? So yeah, I'm gonna just get into it. Libraries be like home, like metaphorical shelters that require nothing of you, your name, subject to change. Here, depending on what side of reality you choose to be on, naming a thing or self becomes a lot like freedom. How fitting for the finite to become infinitely existing. You are allowed to see yourselves in what you read, your reason, valid without explanation. Your clothes, like the shedding of dead skin, have been given permission to unstitch themselves from the vulnerabilities of your being and set your spirit free. Hello. Please make yourself comfortable. Should you need anything, I'm sure that if home is where the heart is, your love for the if and the how will certainly guide your wonderment down colorful aisles and within stations, nooks, crannies, and hiding places, upper levels and lower basements. No place shall be off limits to the unlocking of a new world. These libraries be like food. Like once upon a time, this be forbidden fruit. I wonder if those who disregard the beauty of a hardback, hand to book, book to hand, know that the manual to living rests within the truths of those who've wrestled with their truths enough to insert parable onto page, tucked between an opening and a closing, a beginning with an indefinite end, a siren, silent enough to call out blueprints in non-fictional basements. These recollections be reality regardless of what year it is. I wonder if sleeping in the unknown feels better than listening to the lullabies of our ancestors, whispering in hymnal to humanity, coded in conversation, eventually collected on paper. These books harbor the burials and birth dates of Black and brown smiles, waiting for an oral tradition to marry the written one within a time where most will disregard them both. I wonder if these books will burn away like the desire that never came, like the soul that never went looking for its original birthing place. If libraries will become vacant spaces of truths once lived, if our children will ever be able to read about all the stuff that we did, the riots, the reasoning, the impromptu gas station stops turned moment you'll never forget, whether for good or the worse, the tears that have fallen as midnight makes love to sunrise, the kind of Black love that makes new suns rise, the fanatical and the truth, wrapped in ebony coded language and audibly offered on and off page, first laid in the booth. These libraries be hip hop. Like every book you pick up falls into one of its elements and fits perfectly onto a hook. My hope is that we never stop singing this song, that we never grow weary of being and becoming and uncovering ourselves in stories that will live beyond us, that dormant curiosity will awaken its wonder and dream its carrier into new land. into new home, into new body, into new soul, into a new world where libraries are always essential and unable to close. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I'm all about books.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, 2 snaps and a Ric Flair. Woo!
Wow,
when I was a kid, because I got made fun of so much, I would always have a book. The book was a way for me to like escape to different countries, escape to different lands. And I never dreamed in my whole entire life that the little round ball that we got to play with would take me to all the different places that we were able to read and that I would travel to in my mind. So that is right up my alley. Yes. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you, guys. This has been great. You know, I know Eric is gonna bless us with one more poem before Nick gets on, but I think really before we get into that, kind of as we wrap up, and you know, I know there's a lot of people watching and that tuned in. Thank you guys so much. But I guess, you know, as we leave, and one of the things that the last question that I asked, you know, kind of like what's the next steps and where do you go from here? But I think, you know, personally and looking at the future and looking at the, you know, like I think I heard a sustained effort of being able to create change. So this is quick, and not to put anybody on the spot, but and you might have already said this. One thing that you think that you can do to help create change, just one thing. So I'm gonna go around the horn. I'm just gonna, and I see kind of like the circle right here. So I'm gonna start with Kayla G. One thing, what's one thing you think you can do, and not just in Indianapolis, just in general.
Honestly, I would say is to get people to understand that it puts other people in a tough situation for them to constantly say, oh, you need to think this way, you need to think that way. So I would give not really a speech, but a message saying that you need to be open-minded for what is happening, because it is not just affecting us, it's affecting everyone else.
Love it. Thank you, Kayla. Alyssa.
One thing I think that I can do is kind of, with all the different systems that I interact with, go into them with this mindset of kind of, how can I, you know, for example, my school, you know, the education system, how can I go in and enter these spaces and, you know, at the same time as like trying to educate other people and have these important conversations while also, you know, being mindful of my energy, but also, you know, examining each institution that I interact with in each space that I enter. How can I make it better? And, you know, because that does have an effect on the community, and then it's kind of like a domino effect. And so when you look at kind of the big picture, it can be a bit overwhelming. So looking at just daily all of the different systems that I interact with, how can I go in there and bring what I have to offer to the table, and also try to foster these important discussions and this kind of empathy between people that does lead to people opening their eyes to the realities of life for a lot of people that are different than them.
Love it. Thank you, Alyssa. Kalima.
Yes. I just want to continue to be a resource to the youth, to take any and all assets that I have and using them to provide spaces for integration, for survival, for healing, for voice, for visibility, for breaking silence. And if nothing else, I want to encourage everybody in this room, everybody that's listening, if you're not registered to vote, to vote. I want to talk about that and keep talking about that over and over and over again. But my life's purpose and what I want to do, the one thing is to use my resources to encourage and support the youth.
I love it. Yes. Yes. Nick, one thing that you're going to do. You're on mute, Nick.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So one thing that I really want to work on right now is growing in the way that I communicate. I can communicate through music, but there's also times where I need to just speak with my voice and what's going on in my head instead of using the gift that God has given me, and just finding different ways to communicate with different people in different backgrounds.
Thank you, Nick. Mariah.
For me, I would say creating other lanes of sustainability, such as growing food, right? And continuing to have that conversation around what does it look like to build community wealth. And I think the more we can become less dependent on the system and resist those things by creating alternatives in building community wealth, the better we can survive and exist in a healthy way in this country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well said. Does everyone have a turn to speak?
Daliana.
Yeah. There you go.
One thing.
Well, I think focusing on what the big picture should look like in my head before I step forward into making the major decisions. I think it's important to think about who I'm approaching, how I approach, specifically meaning if I really want to see the area around me change, who do I go to? How do I? I think mapping out the bigger picture is what I should do first before making the big step. Planning is important.
Love it. And Lauren, last but not least.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and put this into one. I would say open your computer, especially for white folks. I know this is kind of tied to number two. As a white person, I think Corinne Shatak's 75 Things White People Can Do to Stand Up for Racial Justice is really important. And 8 Can't Wait.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing I can do, and it's funny, I feel like I'm getting darker and darker as the room got dark. Sorry, guys. The light makes me sweat, and then the room just gets me darker. But I think the one thing that I can do is really show up. You know, like I love what Mariah said about being present and the support. And, you know, I think my personal journey with myself and, you know, even really being transparent, which, you know, I'm being transparent with this group, but I know there's a lot of people watching. So I think really just being transparent with even my own personal feelings and my own journey into accepting being Black and how that journey has been. So being able to show up and step up, I think I can do that. Now I know I can do that, not I think. I know I can.
Yes.
Mr. Saunders, it's on you. It is on you.
Years ago, I just been practicing meditation and really exploring. We are held together, each and every fiber of us. We are all held together. There is life from head to toe that keeps it together, keeps it thread, and thought is as fast as a snap of my finger. Why can't I practice that a little bit deeper? Because I say that because when I say racism has hit every aspect, even religion. And there is such a thing as church hurt on levels. And for me personally, I'm going to continue to be an advocate for things that are not typical. Yoga and meditation, especially Black men in yoga and meditation, so that we begin to heal from the inside as if we are rebirthing ourselves as a complete warrior. You know, it's like this world makes how you have to warrior through it, but how do you discipline that? And so that's like I'm just going to continue to practice to do. to heal. Guys, like I said, I am very much so in a state of grief right now. And I've smiled through this whole time just because of the healing properties that's in poetry. And me and Mariah, we had this conversation after Mari Evans died, just the metaphysics of poetry and how it not only tells a story, but it puts you in the story, you know. And so, yeah, just understanding the full property. We've just been so bound and changed. And that's just not Black people. That's all of us. We've all been constructed underneath this thought. And we have to learn how to break free from that, because our mental capacities and our capacities are chained and our abilities are stuck. And I'm a person, I believe in chakras. I'm sorry. I know that because I've learned how to meditate since high school and I can feel it. So that's what I'm going to do, just so we can learn how to be for real humans. That part.
That part.
Awesome. So, can you turn it down for me, please?
I love it. All right. So Eric is gonna bless us real quick with a poem, and then Nick is gonna shut down the show, drop the mic for us. But Eric, you ready?
Tamika Court, you know when you step on the court, you stay ready, right? When you step on the court, you stay ready.
I'm always ready.
That part. So here we go. When the change gonna come, tell me, when the change gonna come, when the change gonna come, tell me, when the change gonna. Took a look in the mirror, decided to change my ways, and on the top space on the page I wrote, I'm amazing. Full comprehension of the maze I play in, can't disregard hands holding cups for change when for change they're craving. It's still cold, Mike, and wind blows right in your face with Mike. Humans are scarred with hate for life. When the widows still fear they will find their child's tears in a frozen place at night. Nightmares walk around in broad daylight, and it don't matter if you're Black or white. Broken glass and streets gentrified as we the peephole. Watch new doors of lies divide while we're being watched through the peepholes. Yet it seems I can reach my dream with a love supreme. Can inspire victims of a systematic scene to keep chasing their dreams, especially when it seems there's never enough hope and clean food to eat with. Alternative control is what oppose being deleted. So by the glittering glow of my soul, I say oppose control. Take space back, then rise to the change challenge undefeated. The mirror you gaze in says you're amazing. Take up your shine, embrace the divine, change one mind at a time, earn the crown you seek with the purpose you find. And tell me, when the change gonna come, when the change gonna come, tell me, turn it off, when the change gonna come. We learning now that we have to hold our own, considering the truth of Black Wall Street we've been shown. Little piece of the place we call our home. War with ISIS, yet conflict persists within these American zones. We protest governmental relevance. We witness a Black president get flooded with racist sentiments. Billionaires exist, but don't create peace, just pence for vice presidency under this new Trump regime. Use research in the dark side of diversity plus bigotry to claim victory over who would have been the first woman in that seat to make history. Kids still run up and down the street. Cats still popping off, either that or running from the police. Resurrected echoes, history screams, no justice, no peace. The fights don't cease. We running up on the beast. Burn, beat, and hang us, and yet we still see no changes. Through racist faces, biases within policies feel like lasers burning with wire hangers. Discover penitentiary spaces are basically based with the progress of third graders. I'm not sure, Tupac, when it will all cease. But we live to see the curse of the rose that grew from the concrete, and I sing. When the change gonna come, tell me. When the change gonna come, when the
change gonna come, tell me. When the change comes,
I can still see El High El Malik Shabazz through Denzel's eyes. Just glides towards his demise, picturing a beautiful collage of a love and life. So it should come to no surprise. Brothers and sisters still just fight, kill, or die. They call it black on black crime, but I was conceived in secret and born into lies. I've been trying to run, now seeking to remake my fate in strides. Life is hard, and death awaits in scars. Despite what's in the sky, we matter is art, evidence that we live worlds apart. Folks win elections and spit racist remarks as darks. Distinguish our kids in the dark and get pardons. This nation's soul been dark now hardened. This cloak is heavy with brotherly dismissal. Leaves us uncivil, set to explode like missiles. Brothers knock mothers down to their knees each time to pray, each time their sons start leaving. Silence is all we hear when we have begged for people to listen to reason over and over and over, told you don't have meaning. So what are we to believe when they still imitate our dreams in a river deep, if wonder if change gonna come? So we calculate the math and carry on. We still feel we can heal and build on this path. We move forward and carry on. We've been grieving and healing through the hurt. Well, I guess it's time that we hold hands with those fighting against pipelines placed in this precious earth. And tell me.
when the change gon' come, when the change gon' come, tell me, when the change gon' come.
Yeah, I think that's a.
Woo! Oh my goodness. See, and sorry, Kayla, I should have brought you in early. Should have brought you in earlier, Kayla, but I was like, where is that voice coming from?
I know, right? I'm so glad you could help.
Well, we want to sign off. I'm going to have Nick going to shut the show down. But I just want to say thanks to all of you guys.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. And, one thing, I said this offline, but one thing for me is, we all did Blackout Tuesday, and a lot of people did Blackout Tuesday because everybody else was doing Blackout Tuesday, and you didn't really know what it meant, but it was really about being able to support Black-owned businesses, singers, writers, artists, all of that. So, and my way of being able to do a Blackout Tuesday is I really want to support each and every one of you guys for coming on. And so I want to make sure, I think it's really important to pay it forward. So we will be paying it forward. But Nick, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Do not leave yet because Nick Wright is about to shut the place down. I appreciate you guys. When Nick gets done, I am shutting down. Good night.
All right. Thank you. So for this last one, I will be doing a freestyle. And I just pray that God speaks through this instrument. And however it comes out, God, that is for his glory. So let's do it.
Thank you, Nick. Good night, everybody. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, this was good. The community needed this. Thank you, Tamika.
Thank you.
And for using your platform to. That's really just very it's just incredible, man. It really is. It really is. You set a standard. So
we all do. We all set a standard.
Right.
So this is just the beginning of the community conversation. So until we meet again, everybody, thank you guys. God bless y'all. Show up, show out.
Thank you. Yes. Take care and bless you all. Stay safe.
Bye, y'all. And I'll have a light next time.
I'll reach out, Kalima. Yes, indeed. Open them blinds up, Tamika.